Hi, it's Joe. Welcome to the Quilt Report. Well, today, what I'm thinking about is a phrase we've heard a lot this year: Black Lives Matter. One of my driving passions in my life is quilts and quilt history. And in the story of quilt history, very often we think of African American quilting as a kind of a small side part of the history of quilts. But what is not often remembered is that the very fabric that we make quilts out of, cotton, was in the 1700s little available because it was so hard to pick, and it was had to be hand woven. Wool was a lot more available to people generally. People could make wool on their farms and weave it themselves. It was only after Mr. Lowell stole the technology for power looms that made industrialization of weaving possible, right in the latter part of the 1700s, in the last decade. Right around 1800. And right around 1800, in the last part of the 1700s, was when Americans brought over 1 million formerly free citizens from Africa to our country and made them slaves, and treated them as less than human, so that we could make them pick the cotton that subsequently, because of the industrialization of weaving and because of the free labor provided by slaves that picked the actual cotton, did that hard work out there under really inhumane conditions for generations, that made it possible for fabric to become, cotton fabric to become cheap and widely available. And it was that cotton that started to become cheaper and cheaper and more available in the early part of the 1800s that made it possible for this new fashion for quilt making to explode and to cause this explosion of creativity in American women. In the early part of the 1800s, almost all quilts were made from new fabric, new cotton fabric. Cotton is perfect. It's got the right texture. It's the right weight, dress weight cotton. You can get 8 to 10 hand quilting stitches an inch for it. And it was this cotton that was used to make the vast majority of quilts that got made in the 1800s, and that cotton was picked by slaves and then sharecroppers. It's a part of quilt history we don't think about too much, and it's a part of quilt history that I want to acknowledge and make sure that when I talk about quilt history from now on, that it's included, right? I want that to be included as a part of our story as quilters. The cotton that our little colonial great-great-great-grandmothers used for their quilts came from somewhere, and that's where it came from. I've also been thinking about a song I heard Bill Frisell play the other day, and I want to play that because the world needs a little bit more love. Thanks for stopping by. See you again.